the exciting preview. Chapter 3. My name's Andy,
Vamos ver.
community manager with Conan Exiles. I'm joined here by
Mustafa, the lead designer of Conan Exiles.
and we're also joined in the back with Nicole. Hi. So yeah, thank you for tuning in for today's exciting stream. We're going to be going over what's coming up next in the Age of Sorcery. Sorry, I'm a little getting my nerves out. I haven't done this in a little while, so I'm still trying to get this out. But yeah, we have an exciting thing for you today. We're going to be showing off tons of new features, taking your questions, and going on a journey together.
Yeah, we're even gonna be not showing some stuff.
Indeed.
So like, there are things that'll be in this update that you won't even get to see until you get them firsthand. Probably one of the coolest parts.
Yeah. All right. So,
Uma pena que eu não sei inglês, cara.
to recap, the first two chapters of Age of Sorcery have chronicled the adventures of you, the exile, as you delve into the secret of this mysterious form of wild sorcery that's appeared throughout the exiled lands, and forged sort of this like uneasy, weird alliance with the sorcerer Moses to work towards the source of this strange form of sorcery and go from there. And then in chapter 3, you'll see a little culmination of all that. But before we get to that, what would you like to show first?
Well, I suppose we should do
Ei, Arthur,
the update that no one's
salve.
expecting
Mm-hmm.
and talk about the journey system
Salve,
update.
salve, rapaziada.
Journey system update.
Journey system update.
Jury system update.
It is about time indeed. So, let's see, let me make sure. The what? The what?
E aí, Darkman,
The journey
beleza?
system update is
Estão me ouvindo bem, hein?
huge. You know,
Deve
we
tá.
didn't show our hand on it at all, so I know that a lot of people are going to be surprised by this one. But we know there's like a wealth of content in Exiles. There's so much
E
shit to do
Anônimo,
and see,
e o
and it's really
pagodeiro?
trying to figure out what you should do.
É, vamos ver, né,
One of the
cara, o
things
que esses
that we
caras
do
vão
in
trazer, mano.
Exiles is try not to force players to do
Porque a gente
things
já
or
sabe
tell
que
them
vai
things
vir,
they don't already know.
vai vir
With the journey
bug.
system update, we're going to give you guys ways to essentially teach yourself to play and find the things that are in the game. So, I guess without further ado, let's go to the journey system.
Yes, indeed. I'm gonna swap over here.
Alright, so I created a new character on Sipta.
É, ele é de
Obviously, the
Sipta,
journey system
vamos
will be
ver,
updated
cara.
for each map. And if you look up in the top right corner of the screen, you'll see that there's a new UI for the journey system. It's a fancier version of what we had there before. It has a goal for you to do and some instructions as well. And also, just before we get into everything, there's going to be, you know, the standard disclaimer. This is an internal development build. While we are still close to release, there are some things that always get fixed up in the last couple weeks of development. So you might see some things that are a little different or a
E
little
você
off,
não ia
but
pular carnaval?
generally
Você tá doido, né? Pular carnaval, cara. Aqui tá
So,
chovendo,
right
velho.
here in the beginning, you know, the first thing it'll tell you to do is
Não
take
gosto
the
muito de
first
carnaval,
steps.
não.
So we'll learn how to move.
Eu não gosto nem um pouquinho.
And you'll
Opa,
see
tá,
that
ó.
there's an update.
Mudou
So it's in the journey system.
questão
And
da
what you
jornada
see
ali.
is that you can open the menu to
O layout, né?
see what those steps are, as shown by the J up in the corner. When you're on a gamepad or playing on a console, you'll have different shortcuts shown for what you can do. And it'll bring up this new window.
Olha só.
The way that we
questão da
approach
jornada
the
mudou,
journeys
cara.
is essentially the way we approach knowledge as well, where everything that you want to learn is meant to be dressed as a sort of profession. It's a thing that you can learn the aptitude for.
Que legal.
And it's the
Ah,
same for the
interessante.
journeys. So you can
Pena
see
que
we
eu
have journeys like warrior, archer,
consigo
tamer.
traduzir, cara.
If you go down deeper and deeper, you
Aqueles
get
são
into
todos?
things like sorcerer, raider, you know, dismantling, using the dismantling bench. It touches a lot of the game, and we took what was there and we tried to use as much as we could, but we had to wind up making a lot of new things to make the journey actually possible. So I'll dig a little deeper into this UI as well.
É, vamos ver se vai ter expansão do mapa. Eu acho que vai ser uma DG, cara.
It's like
DG
Exile and
nova.
Survivor on the island, it's Island Survivor. And you can see there's a lot of information here as well. Some little text about what you'll be learning in that journey, what kind of reward you'll get for finishing it. And then we've got the actual list of steps, and each of those steps have details as well. So, you know, we hope that we've worded these in such a way that you learn why you're doing what you're doing, and help learn other things that you maybe can experiment with based on what you've learned before. The initial journeys are extremely detailed, and they will tell you like what buttons to press to do things. And as you get further and further into the game, they hold your hand less because we expect you to learn some things early on. Another thing you'll see is on this first one, we didn't want veteran players to have to commit to doing the tutorial every time, and the first journey is really a tutorial. So if you're a veteran player, you can come down and actually hit the button to skip the first one.
Where the camera's overlapping the button to skip it, but underneath Dennis and I, there's a button that, hold on, let me see if I can.
Yeah, there's literally a button to skip the journey. So it's only available on the first one, and I'll go through a couple steps and then come back to this menu first, but you'll see it's really similar to
As jornadas agora vão dar recompensas.
And we just want to teach you how to do things like how to pick up things and search bodies and chests and containers. Yeah, you know, so this one's asking you to look for some things and interact with them, and then it'll advance just like you would expect the journey to advance. All the journeys are all now completed in linear order as well, so you won't have some steps solving before other steps, and you might not accidentally solve a step. You'll very specifically have to come into the menu and say, you know, I would like to do this journey, I would like to learn to do this thing. So you won't be doing the Island Survivor journey and then get stuff way down in like Farmer or Sorcerer solving because you know, you've picked up some
Sorcery.
resources.
Tem vários
So
cards
yeah, just
mesmo
seeing that, you know,
questão da jornada.
you get some stuff in your inventory that'll help you along some of the journeys. Like if I need to eat and drink, there's always more information there. And that'll teach you how to survive in the game and the base systems that you need to literally learn survival, eating, drinking, primarily making a spawn point, crafting from your inventory. But if you've done that a million times and you want to skip it, you click the button. It'll ask you if you're sure you want to skip it. You won't get the reward if you skip it, so you can't use it to just farm the caches. And then some more stuff will unlock. And if you complete journeys naturally, you'll get these notifications as well.
Próxima atualização, cara, não sabemos, mano. Eu acho que é mês que vem, né? Vamos ver se eles vão liberar essa atualização pro live test.
Part of the first tutorial is learning how to unlock knowledge, so you should know how to do that. And that's a good example of how we teach you something and expect you to carry that knowledge over into later journeys. So then there's one for building shelter. You know, when you finish that one, it'll allow you to go on to a later level of building as well. A better example, I guess, is Mason. We also have these journeys tiered out. So you get the Mason one, and then once you complete Mason, it'll have some new prerequisites, but another thing it'll do is unlock Mason 2. And then you can learn to build Tier 2 buildings and so on for Tier 3. And those are hidden, so you can't see them here right now. There's more journeys than you can actually see. Because we are able to just hide ones that you don't meet the standard requirements for.
Will you guys be making moddable?
I have to see how much effort we put into making it moddable. For those of you who know Rob, he is the person that worked on this most, and he is a big mod supporter and modder himself as well. So I believe there will be mod capability here, but I can't give the absolute definite answer right now.
I also saw a question in chat asking, will there be different journeys for the two maps, and the like the tutorial journey will be different between SIPTA and Exiled Lands. So the SIPTA one, of course, will say Island Survivor as you've seen, and if you when you're creating a new character in the Exiled Lands, you'll have an Exiled Land specific initial introductory journey. Bit as well. That's a little bit different from the current version on live right now.
There are these ones as well. You know,
my bad. Yeah.
We can't ask you to discover a lot of different points in a map that you're not on. So where it's appropriate, we make ones that are specific for a specific map.
Yeah, but generally speaking, all these various like paths that you can take, whichever whatever goals that you want to set for yourself, is shared between like the two maps with only just some exceptions. If that answers the question.
Yeah, it's similar to the
Cara,
original system as well.
será que ali, ó, completa uma jornada, será que aquilo ali é a recompensa que você ganha?
Also, like, you will not need to buy SIPTA.
Milhares, Word.
You're just seeing Island Survivor because we just started on Isle of SIPTA. Because my seed game
Quem entender inglês aí, né?
stuff that we wanted to show.
Tu não consegue
We don't want to reroll a
Não
card.
consigo
I
colocar
don't know if you'd
legenda.
like to take any other, if you have any questions yourself about the system, or if you want to answer anything else from chat, or if we should.
Yeah, I'm just looking over chat right now. Yeah, like, so like, you know, this is something that we've wanted to do for a really long time. You know,
Não tem como
in
ativar a
addition
legenda na
to
live, só
offering
que
some
agora já
additional
inicia a
assistance
live,
for,
né,
like, new
cara?
players to like kind of get
Vai dar pra configurar.
situated into the game.
É, são coisas que eu tô
Also add
aprendendo aí, né?
various other things for more seasoned players to still kind of.
Não sabia não,
Like,
cara.
setting your own goals and like figuring out like which things you want to like prioritize.
Se eu
on, or,
tiver
like,
que configurar, eu acho que agora eu vou ter que encerrar a live, né?
offer rewards now for completing
foda.
the various journey steps. We feel confident that like even the most like grizzled of exiled lands veterans will get something out of this new system.
There's two questions, if that's okay. But
Yeah.
we take-
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
The rewards, is it one time only, or every time you make a new save?
Per character.
Just in case people couldn't hear in the back, so it's will the rewards from the journey system be per character or like once per account? You said it's per character, right?
Yeah, each time you create a character, you have the opportunity to get them. And I can kind of skim through, and you can see, you know, there are some interesting rewards on here. We did, you know, some kind of asset variations, like some
Stone.
skins, like you would typically expect from the shop, right? There's no
Ferro,
kind of
madeira.
real power or
É,
anything
ferro,
in the
madeira.
rewards that you get, but the
Ferro,
things that
ferro.
might look cool or help you a little bit along the way.
Yeah,
Cara,
that's
tem
the
uns
thing
itens
we
aqui que eu
get out of the
nunca
journey
vi no
system,
jogo,
like,
mano.
Yeah.
you know, we wanted to
Itens
also make the
novos.
rewards meaningful. So like some of, you know, in some of the ones you'll see like, oh, you get a supply material or like some exotic meat, but then like you see like, you know, you saw like later down there like you get epic items, for example. So
Or if I didn't be doing something.
the character dying at first.
Also, people are wondering if things complete, like, if you're level 60, do you have to do those things over?
So the question is if you're already max level.
Or not just max level, but just like if you've done some of the journey steps.
So okay. So are the various journey steps like retroactive, or do you once it goes live, do you have to complete everything from the start?
Any journey progress you have in the game right now is just going to be gone whenever the update comes out, and you'll start fresh with the whole new system. And that's for a couple of reasons, and one of the biggest ones is just so you don't miss anything. Like, we don't rob you of any rewards or experiences or learning that you might not already have. You know, the context of the old journey system is much different than the new journey
Ver se
system.
dá
So
pra...
in many cases,
Eles
we
estão
would
com a live no,
really be
no
able to
Twitch,
map
né?
progress one to one from one to the other.
Não tem opção aqui não,
But
cara,
another cool
colocar a
thing about the
legenda.
system is some things will be retroactively awarded. So there are
Tá
some
disponível.
steps in the journey
Acho que
system
tá
that
indisponível.
you may complete.
Pelo YouTube, né?
I can give a really easy example. In the Exiled Lands, we ask you to leave the starting desert at a certain point. Now, if you leave the starting desert before you get to that point in the journey and you go about doing the other steps, that goal to leave the journey will solve retroactively. So there
E
are
a
some things in
transferência?
the journey we can detect you've done and just
E a
not ask you to do
transferência, será
them
que vai
because
ter?
we know you already know how to do it.
Vamos ver, né?
It's in pretty
Que vai
specific
vir agora,
cases.
cara.
For the most part, you're going to be asked to follow the steps.
Excellent. So I'm just looking over some chat stuff right now. A lot of folks are saying, yeah, this looks really cool. Glad that there's something for veteran players to get. Other people just saying hello. Let's see. Is the Mummy of the Ring still in the journey steps?
I don't think you'll see that at all. We chose not to include kind of narrative-oriented stuff to start with. Another cool thing about the system is that we made it to be really expandable, so whenever we do new chapters, new updates, things that'll stick around in the game will probably also get a journey that comes along with them. Yeah, Mummy of the Ring.
Rip.
It's not content we'll have implemented, and you'll see as we talk more about this chapter, but that is still a sort of dangling thread for us. Will admins be able to spawn in the special items from it? Yeah, they'll be in the admin panel just like anything else, so if there's a reward in there you don't want to have to do the journey, you can just spawn it as an admin. And you guys will learn, you know, what kind of rewards come from what journeys. There's all kinds of stuff in here, though. I mean, there's even like armor sets, and you know, there's armor sets, weapons, different consumables. If the game has it, the journey system pretty much has it as well.
Now, are these recipes or is it actual just like gear?
I'd have to double check, knowing that Rob worked on it, there's probably a recipe that goes along, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
But there would be, if there's not recipes already, we'll get them in eventually. Right now we're a bit past the translation deadline to add any additional items.
É, o cara tá com 1.300
Alright,
metros
yeah,
com
this is
coins,
like-
né? Vagabundo.
On the doorstep.
Yep.
It's gonna be soon.
Mas a princípio a jornada vai mudar, eu acho que vai ter até recompensa agora pra quem ficar fazendo jornada.
Yeah, it'll just go straight to your inventory. Okay.
Vocês vão mostrar aí.
And then yeah, like we'll open some time up towards the end of the stream also to recap a couple things, or if you have any other questions about anything we covered here, we'll answer what we can. So yes, very good, very good. So apart from the joining system, and this is of course just like a blanket update that's available, that's coming up with the next update. It's available for everyone. You don't have to like do anything or get anything special.
Yeah.
It's just for everyone.
Yeah, whenever we get into the stuff that is like Battle Pass and Bizarre oriented, we'll probably give a disclaimer.
Sure. Right. But the journey system's for everyone.
Yep, journey system goes out for everyone.
Yeah, for free. It's just whatever. It's just part of the base game now. Kind of on that note, of course, the chapter 3 will come with new story steps, new battle pass items, new bizarre items, of course. We can show some of those lovely things off. But first, let's talk about more gameplay things that are being added with the update. So, Chapter 3 is focused around the kind of like the culmination of Metamoses' work, working to like sniff out the secrets and delve into just like what's going on with this, just what's going on in the exiled lands, where the sorcery is coming from, where the source of its power is coming from, and I think we will have some of those answers with this update. We're not going to show everything off.
Cara, sempre que se passa batalha nova aí, vem é bom, cara, porque
We're
o
going to show some
último,
stuff off for sure. So first,
o último eu não curti não. O primeiro foi excelente, cara.
want to take a look over it.
Segundo já.
Visit our good friend at Metamoses and see
Yeah,
his
you were
new,
not
É.
revamped quid.
Absolutely. Would you like to hide while I switch mounts?
I would love to. My stain gone? Okay, good. I'm thirsty, I'm sorry! Hey, listen. Okay, I will say, I just got, I finally been, I've been shown the light of spinger rings, like fidget rings. Because some of you who know me or may have seen me on camera know that I have a tendency to like look at my mustache or play with it when I'm like deep in thought, you know? So I got one of these things now. I can kind of, I can play with my fingers and stim without having to play with my mustache and mess my face up. So yeah, what we're doing right now, we're loading up into the exiled lands and heading over to Metamoses' Spire, which has received some enhancements, some changes to its appearance. Oh, nice. I'm gonna switch back over here.
All right.
Opa, armadura nova, vamos ver. Ó, arminha nova.
So there's going to be some
Certeza
stuff
isso aí
coming
vai
in
vir no
this
bazar,
update
tá?
that will
Não vai
change
vir
the
no
way some
passe,
things are
vamos ver.
presented. One of the first things you'll see is there's this
Ó,
really
cara,
big
tem a joia
beam
da...
in the sky.
Foi mostrado no...
We have removed some other beams from the game that you might see as
trailer não, né,
decorative
nos-
skylights of sorts, to make it so that when we have events like this, it really stands out that there's something
Pera
happening.
aí, isso aí é no
to draw your
exílio,
attention.
cara.
It's like, hey, come over here. There's something interesting here.
Olha,
Yeah,
colocaram
exactly.
acampamento
So
ali no...
you can see this from really
acho que
far
sim.
back, even in the starting desert. You'll
Cara,
see
isso
on the
aqui é,
horizon.
parece que é perto do ralo,
And,
se eu não me
it's kind
engano.
of ushering you forward to find how and where the story is unfolding.
Vladimir, eu tô no servidor The Next Level, mano.
Usually looks much different than this. You can see there's a lot of defenses.
É um acampamento
a lot
novo,
of Conan
cara,
Exiles are
visível.
here. One of the first things you might notice is that this guy's dressed up. So we wanted to have these guys in uniform from the beginning. We had a technical hurdle that prevented us from putting Battle Pass and Bizarre items on NPCs, essentially. So we're over that now. And if we continue up to the top of the spire, we find our new buddy, Metcamosis, is
Got
decked
some new
out,
digs.
Oxi.
and he's also found a new friend that he has tied up to his lovely altar, which is what the giant beam is coming from. So you guys will also be able to explore some dialogue.
mesa de
with Necrosis. I don't think there's
sacrifício.
any reason we really need to pop into his dialogue right now. We can
No.
just save it as a surprise. But Necrosis will pretty much tell you that there's these fancy new rocks that you can go find, and if you bring them back to him, similar to headhunting in Chapter 2, you'll get a nice reward for doing that. He'll also ask for something else, and before I tell you what that is, we'll go back to the red stones themselves. So the red stones are called blood crystals, and blood crystals are essentially
É, perto do Arqueduto do Sul, cara.
hardened.
É meio próximo do
It
Rio
is
Nube esse
the blood of the
acampamento aí.
giant kings that soaked into the ground, hardened, and resurfaced. The giant kings are extremely powerful sorcerers, and their blood has essentially returned to the surface and animates.
A armadurinha é legal, pô.
So now that might give some more context to understand
Mas não é
why there's
chinelo,
a
né?
golem
Chinelão da...
system coming, which some of you may have seen represented in my armor or in some of the updates we put out this morning. But you'll be able to go
Bem
out,
diferente, cara.
harvest the blood crystals, and I'll
Lembrou bem Dark
talk a
Souls
bit
esse
about that
almo,
as
hein?
well. Bringing them back to Necrosis with his sick mask, and
Mais
you know, get those
poderzinho.
rewards
Pois é, cara. Mais lag,
and
né?
participate in another little activity.
E aí, Edson, salve, mano.
So,
Olá pra galera que tá entrando aí
Crystals, how do
na
I get
live.
them?
How do you get blood crystals? How do you harvest the blood of the
É, do lado da
giant kings
savana,
from the-
cara.
yeah, that's right.
Meio perto
So,
ali mesmo.
you'll be able to find the resource like you would
Angelina,
with other
olá.
resources using the spell to detect resources. They'll be represented as a
Bem-vindo à live da
sort of
Fulcom,
red
mostrando os
beneath
novos
the ground. You see
conteúdos
red
que vão ser
resources.
adicionados.
I'm not going to go hunt them out now for sake of time because it is random whether or not you'll find them.
É, arminhas novas,
But
né,
I
a
will show
princípio.
you some stuff. There are two versions of finding and harvesting these, and I'm actually going to need a hip as well.
Oh, my bad.
It's okay. Use a pickaxe, it's fine. So as I mentioned, the blood crystal brings things to life. So whenever you use detect resources to find the blood crystal, you're not just finding the resource embedded in the ground, you're also finding
Whatever it's attached to.
Basicamente vai ter mais caçadas por esses cristais de sangue e você vai ganhar
so
recompensas quando trazer por esses caras aí. É,
spawn
basicamente,
some
é
stuff.
verdade, mano.
And
Ó,
the first version is
roxífico
a lovely
de
thing
cristal,
you guys
mano.
surely recognize in the
Nossa, eu já tenho.
Cristal?
Aham, os cristais vermelhos. Eu já tenho uma raiva de
Ah, do
roxífico.
cristal vermelho.
blood crystals
Uhum,
on him.
Que
diferente,
massa.
sim.
And after you kill him,
É.
you can
Ele
harvest
vai
his corpse
farmar
with
ali.
the blood crystals.
O que ele formou?
Ah, farmou rocha e um cristal vermelho aí que não deu pra ver muito bem.
All this golem equipment is
Yeah,
really heavy.
yeah, we got some cool stuff.
We got a lot of stuff lugging around.
So the rock nose was the second one we made, and the first one we made, we wanted it to be a bigger challenge. And we realized we had to offer that earlier in the game, so the rock nose was a bit of a fallback.
Olha o tamanho desse chifre.
Sorry, that's the wrong one. I want
Esse
this
deve
one.
ser o chifre boss.
Oh, really quick also, is it possible to
Bloodstone,
tame the
pedra de
blood rock
sangue.
noses and make them your pets?
I don't think we put a
É sangue de
recipe
pedra.
for that.
É, o sangue de pedra.
Não, tá certo.
So
É,
what
certo.
you'll normally be finding in
Ah.
high-level areas is
Ó o
Que
bicho
da
voando.
hora!
animated earth golem, and you can see the blood crystal in his heart.
O chifre 3.0, será?
Sei lá, mas é um bicho
It's
diferente,
the
hein?
same
Ó,
deal as the rock nose. Whenever you kill him,
um
you
posto de
get
galho
harvest
de
resources
pedra.
and bring it back for
Postigalho de
a
pedra.
reward, or keep it for yourself. So,
You can't have this specific enemy as a pet, but someone did ask, yeah.
Deu um out de
in
Leste
the
no
board game asks, can you keep a golem as a pet? Not that one. What?
wait,
There's more.
Yeah, so I'll come up here to back up to Metcalmus' Spire. So, you know, he wants the blood crystal because he's trying to perform a certain ritual.
É, eu curti essa armadura também, mano.
His princess.
Espero que não esteja no bazar, né? Que seja do
One of the
passe.
really fun things we did with her is she's also voice acted, so you'll
Mas
hear
eu
her
não
randomly
espero muito não, velho.
screaming obscenities at Metcamosis, you know, cursing him.
Yeah, she's pretty mad about being.
Not
E pra
happy
quem que vai
with him.
entregar essas pedras aí?
If you read that subtitle there, you know, you can see about how happy she is. And there's another person at Metcamosis camp. And he has a little bit more information about the
É
golems
como se fosse uma
themselves. So this is
caravana,
another
né?
exile,
Nova.
another Conan Exile who has started using that blood crystal that's used to make his altar. And, you know, he is essentially obsessed with
Mestre
the art
da
of carving
Mestre Caber.
golems and using that blood
One.
crystal to make something really
Coveiro
amazing.
Master.
He will also be able to teach you how to make your own golems. So there's different power levels of golems, and we'll get into that further.
É, Coveiro
And the
Master.
player will be capable of making pretty crude ones, and when you go out and adventure into the world, doing things like dungeons and killing bosses, you'll start to find higher level parts that you can't craft, but you can use in the crafting process. So this guy also has a whole set of voice acting to go along with him, and you know, he'll tell you more about his place in the world and what he's interested in. And then just before we leave Metcamosis camp, I'll give another hint of what's happening. Part of what you'll find in his dialogue tells you that he wants to perform a ritual, and there's another ritual happening at the same time. Metcamosis wants you to go to the site of the other ritual, which he's found a way to get to with a transportory stone, and stop the ritual from happening. So those of you following along with the story might have an idea of who's performing the ritual. You might be familiar with the location you're taken to. If you've
Cadê meus
been
drops da
following
Twitch?
along with the story.
Já era, já, né?
There's a new area.
Pior que eu nem peguei isso aí,
There
cara.
is new content and
Passei
encounter to
14 horas
discover
vendo
there.
aquela
I think
merda,
everyone's gonna be
nossa.
really surprised and excited to see it.
It's really cool.
And it's a pretty big deal. And we've decided that we don't want to spoil it, so we're not going to show it.
Viu?
now.
Eles
I'm
vão
not gonna say anything
acertar a
more about
moeda
it.
do passe
Let you guys
conforme
know it's on
do
the-
bazar, né?
the
Conforme a
public beta server, or you just
religião.
wait for it to
Eu
release.
espero, né?
Everything will become a lot more clear. I'm super excited about it. But here you can see we're able to put the blood
Ó, as
crystal in this
armadurinhas ali.
portal to fire up a portal that lets you go to
Que é isso, cara?
that location and check out something awesome. There will be a thing there for you to bring back to Metcamosis as well that'll get you some more rewards again. Similar to the bounty hunting event, how we had you could knock out, you could kill guys and get their skull and get a little reward, or you could knock them out and bring them back and get a bigger reward. We've got a similar scheme going on here where you can go out and find the crystals, bring them back for a small one, or you can go get this other thing and bring it back for a huge one.
There'll be new vendors here. There'll be new vendors here, I believe, at the camp too, right? Kind of similar to what we had with the headhunting event from last chapter.
Yeah, I think they're set up down here already. But
And these folks take ancient oboli too, right?
Excuse me. Yeah, that's right. So it'll be the same thing. It's actually, I believe it's even using the same tables. So the guys that you could get last time will be the guys that you could get this time if you're getting thralls through that method. And the things that you can purchase are mixed
O que
up.
aconteceu com os eventos, né? Que apareciam no mapa, tipo,
But yeah, it's just more
Super Mero, eles
to
retiraram.
keep,
Será que era
doing
temporário
that,
mesmo?
Yeah, have some fun collecting stuff and bringing it back. That's kind of the name of the game, is having fun collecting stuff. I mean.
So, will
Eu
the
nem perdi
headhunting
tempo
event
pegando os drops da
activity
Twitch,
itself
mano.
persist even after
Eu não consigo te
once
dizer,
chapter
cara.
2 concludes? Like, what does that spell for like the Catan folks and the headhunters and all that?
Headhunting and even
Cheguei
this-
agora, o
this
que
event
tem de
right
bom?
now are
Vamos ver os conteúdos aí da nova
really
atualização, né?
temporary, but we're going to be
Parte
bringing
3 do
them
Age of
out
Sorcery.
later as part of the normal encounter rotation that occurs. It just won't be on as large of a scale.
Gotcha.
So you might see one of them. Headhunting might not be a great example. I think that we might not see the headhunting caravans come back because they're kind of persistent. We'll have to see exactly how we decide to handle that. We might move it into a smaller area, but for the time being, the headhunting caravans will be gone. That activity will be gone, and it'll be replaced with this one. We always want to kind of have something new and fresh for you to do, but I also don't want to get rid of things that people like to do. So, in some capacity, we may see it return as a temporary event, or it may come back as just
De novidade, até agora, pelo que eu entendi, a jornada vai mudar. E eu acho que vai ter recompensas por cada jornada que você completar, né? Armaduras novas, né? Provavelmente é do bazar, não sei se é do passe. E tem um ponto ali que vai ter mudança ali no mapa, ali, cara. Uma caravana nova, digamos assim.
With a slab and Necromosis.
Vamos ver se eles vão mostrar mais coisas, né?
So there used to be a slab right here where these guys are standing, and there was Necromosis standing right here, and he would teach you the set religion and a couple emotes. And now Necromosis, you know, he's moved a little bit, but he's right nearby.
Will he still teach you the ways of set?
Yeah, he has his dialogue changed from what it used to be. What about the other interesting thing on the horizon?
Olha ali, cara, tem a lua e o sol, mano.
Ah, vai ter um eclipse,
Vai ter
né?
eclipse.
That we're looking at right now.
I use my words really
Da hora mesmo.
I don't. My no thoughts head empty.
Realmente, cara, eles deviam colocar moedas como coins pra conseguir no jogo normal, né?
The storytelling that's happening.
Só que isso aí daí não vai ter... Os caras vão ganhar, né? Eles vão mostrar o eclipse agora.
While this event's active, you know, for the 3-month period or so, there will no longer be nighttime in the exiled lands. Instead, it will be replaced with what you're seeing on screen right now. This is a key component in the ritual itself, and it's kind of a, you know, a celestial alignment where the moon eclipses the sun, and during that time, instead of having full-on pitch black, you'll have this kind
uma
of red
mecânica boa,
tinged
velho, interessante, né?
eclipse that hovers overhead. And
Dá
then
mais
goes
um ar
away.
de...
Lembrou, sabe o quê?
And, you know, when you're taken to
Berserk, ó.
through the transportory stone to
O eclipse.
experience, you know, a new,
Verdade?
Eclipse de sangue, que massa, cara.
that will be a part of that as well.
Ai, que
So
da hora.
night times will be a little bit brighter.
Nossa.
You know, you won't have the full-on dark for this duration, but you will have this really cool eclipse in the sky.
What an ominous portent.
Indeed. And
Aí,
here's
tipo, não
a-
ficou de noite, né? Ficou
So you
meio
can see
termo, cara.
It's not quite as dark as it was before. We've got
Que
some
da hora
nice
que ficou,
red
velho.
clouds that fade into a cooler blue near the ground. All right. Well, now I can take off to Golem City, as I have dubbed it. Andy set up some stuff for us to look at, and we can talk more about golems
Golem time.
and more.
Cidade do
So
Bom, que é
everything
isso,
we have set
cara?
up here. There's a bit of DLC stuff in here. I'm going to change the time of day so you guys can actually see as well.
Oh, I don't know. Is the new area located? So I guess this is for more of a modding specific question, but is the new area that we're sending folks, like, do you know geographically where it is, like on the map, even if it's like in an inaccessible area, like if it's in like the northeast area?
It's
Cara, tá pra vir um
I
conteúdo
don't know
interessante
where
aqui,
the
mano.
specific location is. It is currently
Mas até agora que foi
dynamically
mostrado aqui eu tô
loaded,
gostando.
for the encounter itself. It uses the encounter system. It's just on always. That's about all I can say without really giving any more kind of spoilers. So
I guess a better question would be to ask.
it exists in a place in the world.
Do you foresee its existence perhaps interfering with like modders' ability to like edit maps and stuff like that? I mean, obviously, they'll have to like be wary of it or like mindful of it, but like
If you have events, the boolean for events like the encounter toggle disabled on the server, it shouldn't be overloaded. So if you're playing on like Age of Calamitous server or something and you don't have the Funcom events enabled, it shouldn't interfere at all. That's part of it, you know, being dynamically loaded. If you are running, you know, something more base game or base game friendly that has the Funcom events turned on, depending on what you've made, it may or may not be anyway. We'll just have to see when the time comes.
cool. Yeah. Thanks for the question, Anag88. I hope that helps answer the question. But yeah,
Yeah, sorry, we can't be more specific.
Yeah.
I just don't want to ruin it for people.
What's up?
The question people are asking, like, what have we shown so far will be good?
Ó, o que mostrou até agora, mostrou algumas armaduras, alguns eventos novos, né?
the journey system that we showed, what we're about to show.
Novas construções de bazar, será que é isso, cara?
But the narrative-oriented things.
Ah, mano, eu espero que o passe de batalha venha bom, cara. Que é foda ficar gastando em bazar, é complicado. Mas se vir construção nova, pelo que eu tô vendo, é de Turan, cara. É turaniana.
Okay, ready to go into golems themselves?
Yeah.
This is a really big topic. Golems are a new follower type.
Mas o Eclipse eu achei um evento bem da hora, cara.
So you guys aren't sure what they do. So I guess this is my opportunity to let it loose. Do we have any golems actually? Yeah, these are on stands.
Essa armadura aí é legal também. Ó, uns golems, cara. Isso aí, será que é NPC essa porra?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start in the inventory.
Tá com a espada de Kron, a marreta.
Golems
Good
goes to a follower that you can craft, and they have 2 arms, 2 legs, torso, and a head. And you can make different pieces to create a different follower at the end of the day. Each of those different pieces also have different attributes that you'll see the side effects of whenever you go into the actual crafting station. So this is a bench that you'll make the parts on.
Bancada nova,
the
cara.
recipes for the things that you can actually create.
Pra craftar, o que vai craftar aí,
you can bring
mano?
them over to the assembly station, and it'll, kind of splat them down here. Put the pieces in context so you can see them in the world. And once you put all the pieces on, you'll have access to a ritual that
Cara, será que você vai conseguir fazer, tipo, lacaios golems agora? Seguidores.
What kind of armor, and how much inventory space it will have. And inventory space is going to be pretty important for golems because the guardian golem can harvest resources for you while you're in the world.
There was a specific question. Someone on YouTube asked specifically that, like, are you gonna look?
Puta merda, cara. Você vai conseguir.
We did, in fact.
Você vai ter seguidores golem agora.
So, on this golem, you can
Olha isso
set
aqui,
parts
9.000 de vida. Mano, como é que vai ser isso aqui no PVP, cara?
This one has an axe in his hands, so he can harvest lumber. Different tools that you put in their hands will have different harvesting capabilities.
Basicamente você vai ter que pegar as partes dos golems e você vai ter a bancada pra fazer, mano. Pra craftar os seguidores, cara.
Whatever relevant pieces you can actually put in, and it'll tell you, like if I try to put a rock in this one, sorry, I think I have to move it here first, but it'll tell me that maybe he's not
rock and stone.
Yeah, so it'll tell me when I can't harvest something, and if I can move it there, it'll go into that inventory.
Só não sei o que ele tá fazendo
Just go to passively pick up those kind of resources. So because he's looking for sticks, he knows
olha só, cara, trabalhador, mano.
His inventory will start to fill.
Vou farmar pra você.
So there will be more detail and more context on exactly what kind of stuff you can and can't harvest. I know that one thing people will just ask automatically is, can they harvest star metal? The meteorite has to be cracked before they'll harvest it, but they will harvest it once it's actually been opened. Otherwise, we've got a whole swath of classified materials that you can put in there and have them follow you around, fight, and harvest stuff in between.
Pode preparar o bolso.
We've got some more.
Isso aqui não sei se vai vir no passe, hein, cara.
But there is probably more than this coming with golems in the future.
Mas tem que ficar ordenando, será? Ele bateu ou ele vai pegando?
Eu acho que ele pega sozinho, cara.
This guy right here is what we call a tier 1 golem, so he's like.
Não vai fazer muito sentido você ficar ordenando o cara farmar pra você, né?
Então.
Ó, ele tá indo sozinho, ó.
That's the bloodstone that you would have harvested.
Eu acho, né?
Trees.
Yeah, he wants them sticks, boy. So you can see him pick the sticks.
Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah.
Cara, realmente, essa atualização, eu tô vendo que eu tô achando legal, cara.
It'll be a base feature with the game.
Yeah, you'll always be a way to find them, find how to create them, and
Vai poder craftar golems e cada peça tem um atributo diferente, cara. Ó, tem um golem com uma espada de com ali, só que esse aqui provavelmente é É pra defender alguma, defender base, usar como lacaio guerreiro, né?
One of role players the golems, that's, you know, that's on you. I'm not gonna up your yum.
Make this guy stop following me. And check out some other golems as well. So this is what we would call a tier 2 golem. He's made out of
Tudo que eu queria. Pronto, cara, vou precisar farmar, velho.
Tudo que você queria? Quem colocou isso aí?
O Fabiano Gomes.
Nossa, Extreme vai falar uma coisa também.
Pronto, doido, não precisa mais farmar. Eu vou mandar os bonequinhos farmar, pra mim já era. Ó, 14 mil de vida. Vê lá, mano.
They don't level like a normal follower, so their power is kind of static. They're just going to be what you see is what you get on that menu. But they've got another mechanic baked in that's kind of cool. So
eu também, eu não esperava tanto, cara. Eu não esperava tanto.
You'll see various armor values depending on what you put on. But they also have a passive deflection mechanic. That's like we borrowed from when a player gets a rebound off of a shield. So if you hit a golem, there's a chance that
você coloca o item nele que ele quer farmar, cara. É bem isso mesmo, mano. Cara, gostei demais, cara. Vamos ver como é que vai funcionar isso na prática no PVP, né? Porque provavelmente você vai conseguir matar isso aí.
Additionally, there will be another thing I'll talk about that'll improve that further, but there are ways to make them deflect more as well.
A couple questions came up in chat. Do golems have to be on follow mode in order to?
Eu quero saber desses dois aí, o que eles vão fazer.
Just like let them go on their own.
At the moment, they do have to be on follow. One of the things that we didn't get to finish, but is almost done, is a way for them to harvest autonomously, where you can kind of leave them in a place and let them just do their own thing. But that hasn't been fully QA tested. We don't have a timeline for when that will be released, but I know that in the long run, it's a thing we want to do. Because eventually you will likely see some or all of this behavior coming to normal thralls too. I know that's another thing people will want to see is if golems can do it, why can't people? And for the time being, we want it to be a thing that sets golems apart and keeps them special. But in the long run, it is absolutely plausible that this winds up on
something we'd like to do, yeah. And then the other question that I saw, oh god, I'm blanking now. One sec, sorry.
Oh, you go ahead.
Will these count towards your like crawler follower count?
Yeah, they're normal followers, so they will count.
And so they get boosted by like the authority attribute as well?
They will get boosted by authority, but like I said before, they can't be healed. I believe, if I remember right, the things that would heal them otherwise boost their deflection. So they have a higher chance to make attacks rebound and take no damage.
Cara, normalmente atualiza, acho que algumas semanas depois, né? Pode ser que mês que vem atualize isso aí, mas cara, é um conteúdo bacana.
When golems are destroyed, can you like salvage some of their parts or anything like that?
Right now, when they're gone, they're gone. So he just falls apart and he drops what he had in his inventory.
Ele deu alt delete no bicho.
But yeah, one of the things that we try to base around a lot of things that pull from one of our design pillars is that nothing is forever, essentially. So even when the golem itself dies, we don't want you to just be able to take those parts back and put it back. We want you to have to go back and kind of go through that process of making them again. Just because it gets you out on more adventures, right? That's the primary thing. We want you to be exploring out in the world, going out to do the activities that make you feel empowered and give you, that temporary boost in power until you lose something and you have to go back and get it again.
Yes, question from chat.
Ó, o Fabiano lá comentando. Mas é um vagabundo. Esse aí vai poder cortar o cabelo todo dia, esse aí vai tomar todas, viu? Já não gosta de farmar mesmo, e Yasmin vai poder ter uma folga, chega e escravizar Yasmin. Cara, mas é um conteúdo bem bacana. Eu farmo sim, tá? Mas eu vou pular Kai, né?
And it looks like this guy that's right on the screen here, but it's the same items, but with a different skin.
Yeah, I think there is a battle. I believe, I want to say the capstone reward for the battle pass is also like
we'll check it out and go through the rewards as they're set up now for the battle pass later. But that's the idea, that we make alternate versions of the parts, not using our reskinning system for them.
And for what it's worth, also you can mix and match the various like part quality, so you can put like a crystalline leg on like a stone torso with like an iron head or something like that. And you can actually see here on the stand that we have set up, like we have a couple different special parts to further customize your golems. Some people noted in chat the conspicuous head that this golem on the stand has. Some people
Tá
referencing
com
dynamite
jarro na
who's
cabeça, mano.
your favorite. I love that game. So shout out to those who brought that up.
Yeah, I mean, golems
Pois
are
é, dá uma olhada
a
aqui.
facsimile of humans. They don't have to be one-to-one recreation.
Que
So
vai ser
you've
isso
got some
aqui,
really
cara?
cool parts that
Verdade.
you can interchange
Credo.
with what would just be a normal head, and one of them is the explosive
Homem
jar.
bomba.
So
Jar for a head.
Olha lá, ó.
another
Optimum
thing that might not be obvious
stone.
at first is
Homem
on
bomba.
this one, it not only has a jar for a head, but its torso is hollow, and it's an incense burner. And one of the things you can do with this golem is put different flowers in it, or if you take it a step further, you can put the powder of those flowers in it for a greater effect. Have some kind of passive effect around your character. So different flowers will do things like increase deflection, add a health regeneration around the golem. There's like strength weapon
É, cara,
damage.
se não for uma
increase around it.
atualização gratuita,
I can't remember exactly how
cara,
it
não
affects
espero
the
nada, tá
hand.
ligado?
There's a bunch.
Provavelmente isso aqui é coisa de
there's like
bazar,
two
mano.
different qualities of various effects, and then there's like
There's 5 or 6 different effects, and then a second tier for each one as
there's
well.
like 5 or
'cause,
6. Yeah.
They're all Lotus driven, and you can take the Lotus and grind it and get a more potent version of it. Keeping in check with the lore, essentially, that whenever you use alchemy to kind of grind these things down, they become a more powerful version.
So yeah, when you're out adventuring with your hot box golem, you can go and get some sweet buffs while you're fighting alongside them.
And then another thing here is the automaton stand is another cool thing. I can't remember if I think the stand is in monetization as well. I think it's maybe the battle pass, but don't quote me
Tá
on
com
that.
frio?
But it's essentially kind of just a little station that lets you display the automaton that you created. And you don't fully have to
Oh,
do the
vi que
ritual, you
isso
just put the
aqui.
parts in and you can see.
Yeah, it's just the display stand. Like yeah, it's completely inert and can't do anything, but it's just there to like show off as like a decoration.
And this is a good way to show too how you can put different pieces in. Do different things.
Você vai ter a bancadinha pra montar teus robozinhos, teus transforme.
Transforme-o.
Transformes.
There's a few different types of weapon
Transform.
arms you can put on, and a few different types of, I think a couple types of heads, and maybe 1 or 2 types of torsos. Like
Sai, menina, pelo amor
the
de
one that
Deus.
Dennis just put on with the purple eyes acts as like a light source for dark areas as well. That's its own like special head.
Yeah, I can do this and just have a little a skim through all the different parts. So some of these you can't craft, and some of them you can. The crystalline ones, for example, and that's the guy on the far right on the left side of my screen. They'll only come from drops in the world, and the sculptor NPC that's in Mechanosis camp actually has a rotating inventory of parts too. So if you show up at different times, he might have a different piece to sell you. I believe it's at the cost of crystals themselves. And in addition to that, we also have coded parts. So the part might not just have a base effect, but something like, there's one here, Crystalline Guardian Tar Head. Whenever you take that item and you check it out, you should put it on the bench actually just so you can see here. It'll add different qualities. In combat, creates flammable pools of tar. So now if you apply a fire effect to those, you have.
Cada bonequinho desse vai ter uma habilidade, ó.
I think there is. I want to say there's 2.
O problema é que é tudo em inglês, cara. Não vou ficar traduzindo, você é doido, né?
Andy, if you want to look on that page, you might be able to find out the exact number.
Sorry, what are we looking for? I was looking
É,
at
realmente, cara.
types of coatings. Okay, one sec. Let me take a look.
Eu acho que vai ser algo pago, mas, cara, um conteúdo legalzinho, mano.
Now gold
Yeah.
to my gut. I also appreciate the comment about Exodia.
Não dá pra saber
So it
se
looks like
é...
According to this, there's 2 types of coatings and then a couple more that we wanted to do, but
Okay, yeah.
haven't been implemented.
Yeah, so we have 2 coatings now, and then we may wind up adding more later. As with like a lot of the stuff you guys have seen come out in Sorcery, we try to make everything be forward-minded, so when we want to do
Se for
little
negócio de
touches here and
passe,
there, just
beleza,
spice
mas
up
eu acho que vai vir
parts of the game that people
algumas
like,
coisas no
but
bazar, cara. As
maybe
coisas
hasn't
mais
had it in
interessantes é
content
tudo no
in a while.
bazar.
We can come back and add something cool. And we have ideas for these things in the backlog that we can just reach into anytime and add new systems and new dynamics to the game.
There's a couple people in chat asking if there's an animation when you start a golem. If you want to slam some,
I do want to
slam some of those legs and arms over there and fire one up.
Let's get all the stuff you had on display in there.
Yeah.
So this one has the scythe arm. You always have to have an empty arm in the left, but the right one determines what kind of tool they use. And you can see here when I put the scythe arm in, it can harvest foliage.
Esse aí deve ser
I put the chest in,
boneco
it's the
que
incense burner,
dá pra você
so
mandar
it
na
has the
base
rose
inimiga e explodir,
burner attribute
certeza.
that lets you burn flowers. And
Tá
it
com a
has the
cabeça de
explosive
jarro.
jarhead, which means it detonates on death. So we'll now do the ritual, and just like any other ritual,
Ó, craftou.
he'll come around to a specific spot.
Taking the long way around.
Yeah, it's a defined point, so he'll do his ritual and then animate the golem.
Live, live. I give you animate life.
The bench will, lift it up and let it come to life.
Da hora.
Oh,
Opa, deu uma bugadinha.
Yeah. It lives.
Vou conseguir.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Put Andy's voice in the game, please. Thanks, Birdkex.
Okay.
Cara, eu acho que é um boneco suicida, mano.
We can see all that same
Vou
stuff.
andar
We
na
can see
base
how the
inimiga.
genre, how much inventory he has. And now it's obvious that
Tem 8.000 de vida, 282 de armadura.
They run out of inventory space, they can't harvest anymore. And his explosive jarhead. Let's go ahead and just drop some golden lotus in there to begin with.
Oh yeah.
And then we should start, burning some flowers here, since he's following me. Or do I have to actually enable it as well? I can't remember. I think I should just go. I can double check.
Oh yeah.
Tá com a cabeça
I haven't
num
actually-
jarro, mano.
That one,
Sorry, I just looked at your phone.
I don't even know what you saw.
I don't know what I saw. Sorry.
I could try to.
No. Unfortunately, your golem will not take you. Will not take ballroom dancing lessons with you. That sounds like a great mod though.
Like rock himself and
People like no feet.
oh gee.
Not the first.
I'll mark this as part of the work in progress status of this, but in the end, whenever it ships, it will have the effect along with it as well. I think it's burning it, but you can't see it right now.
Okay, gotcha. There's no effects on
Are
it.
you in creative mode from the
I am in creative mode. There's the buff. That's right. Good point.
Oh, duh. Okay, yes. Thank you. So,
So yeah, you can see the passive effect happening there. And then I think we said there's 5 of those, and 2 power levels of each one
Yep.
essentially.
So see what flowers do what.
That should be a little more impressive in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then with this guy, like it said, he's got the explosive jar head. So whenever he dies, it'll drop the jar. And even though I killed him manually, you can see the jar burning down on the ground, and there's the explosion.
Ah, cara.
Nice. So I think that's largely gold.
Dá pra fazer
I don't know
alguma...
if there's a lot more to cover on them at the point.
Mandar esse golem
That's how the last stuff
farmar
to begin
e
with.
deixar o jarro na
This is the
cabeça,
super
né?
high
O cara,
powered golem. You
o cara
can
quando
see
morre
he's
explode o
insane
jarro.
health and armor. And he's set up to harvest
Ó,
rocks
esse aí
as
tem
it is.
20 mil de vida.
Oh, that is a lot of health. Jeez.
Tá,
Yeah,
porra.
like I said, he can't be healed.
Right.
So it is as effective HP can be, but he also has that deflection mechanic on top as well.
I mean,
We saw that,
don't
didn't we?
worry. Yeah. We're getting to those. We're getting to those.
What about these rounded things then? Let's see these.
Ooh.
That's interesting. So I guess we're probably ready to move on from golems now, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, if there's any other questions in chat, real quick.
Yeah, okay.
What's up?
What about the goals in inventory when they're full? What do they do?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they behave normally. They'll follow you and perform in combat. They just won't be able to actually carry any more stuff. So I believe that harvesting will be totally blocked at that point. I don't think they'll just leave little bags on the ground for you. But it's definitely one of those two things.
And for the record, I'm taking a lot of questions with the topic that we're talking about, and we'll likely have a Q&A session at the end for other things. I do see y'all's questions.
É umas mecânicas da hora,
If
cara.
anyone didn't hear that, Nicole just said she's taking questions on other things as well, but she's only asking the ones about what we're talking about.
Yeah, about Golem specifically. And I'm taking a look at chat as well, so we're keeping track of what we can. And don't worry, we saw plenty of comments about like, oh, what are these rounded foundations? What are these round things? Can we have armor stands? Like these golem stands? Huh? Can we? What say you?
I say yes.
Oh!
Esses manequins
In the
ainda.
time it took to ask that question, we implemented that.
Yeah.
Kidding.
I just actually I went in and I checked the checkbox that
The
says
button, right,
armor
that's the
stand.
button. Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, this job is really easy. So
Oh yeah, we just press buttons and like things just come to life. It's fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the game dev's so easy.
I'm very excited.
yeah. We're still taking care of some stuff on the armor displays as well. Like you'll see this one on the female. There's a bit of an issue with the texture up on the chest there. And
yeah.
obviously they have checkerboard
Loincloth
on that won't be there in the end. We didn't want to not show this because it's so exciting. So, do you have
in the other tent I have
tents?
ones dressed up already.
So we've got a couple tents set up, and these ones are wearing armor.
All you have to do is you just dump whatever armor pieces onto your. I don't have anything of those things.
Ah, manequim pra guardar a armadura, será que é isso? Ah, isso aí tem no Age of Calamitos, né?
We'll make a different display.
Eles só deram uma
There's another
armadurinha
female
nova.
version. Currently, they do not accept dyes or illusions, but because I think we're going to have different versions of the mannequin probably in the future going forward. We want to accommodate that, so I think that you'll see a version in the future that accepts the dyes and illusions as well. We have a plan for it already. We just didn't have time to do it right now.
Or like with different poses or something.
Right. Yep. So.
Tipo assim, eu tô feliz pelo conteúdo novo, mas eu sei que vai ser pago.
And all request
Tô
feature
tão feliz assim não.
so that will be added.
And I believe
A
that
questão do conteúdo em
this-
si que eles vão adicionar no mapa, o eclipse, eu achei da hora.
You can one sec.
No.
Good.
Opa, opa.
Okay. And that's I did see someone in the.
Vamos ver o
YouTube
bazar.
channel, so,
Bazar não.
we noticed that was the.
Olha, já estão
April
com o passe de
and
batalha
it's
nível
armor.
3 ali, mano.
Yeah. One thing we've been doing, just because we think it's cool, is getting some of the armors back from AOC. You've seen a lot of them in game already, probably, if you're familiar with the game. You know, like the assassin, barbarian.
Dá pra ver que já começa com uma armadurinha, piso de pintura, manequim. Aí vai liberar uma arma, tipo uma marreta, né?
Put a lot of time
Joia de
into making that
sangue.
necromancer armor because in AOC it doesn't have a lot of really high detail and we have to recreate it to put it in Exiles. So the 2D detail on it is very high and it shows a lot of tiny little pieces. And he had to go through and actually give topology and geometry to all of those little tiny pieces. And so again, big shout out to Greg.
Oh, and the big no spoilers thing, by the way, is it's just so like when you complete the battle pass, it like gives you like little like lore bits. We don't want to have those bits on stream because we want you to see those for yourselves. So it's going to be
Yeah. For the sake of the stream, we have the whole battle pass unlocked, and we just don't want the text to be visible for now.
No, we're not showing you our bits. Please.
Actually, the most important story points are not text, but they are hidden behind the no story spoilers block.
Nice. Great. Excellent.
The mannequin here, I was just going to point out, it is a battle pass reward, and it's a free reward. So anyone can claim this, whether you pay to unlock the battle pass or not. Everyone will be able to play and get the mannequin. And you might think also, oh, what does that mean for the future? When this battle pass is gone, we will have other versions and iterations of this that are probably available in the shop. We may eventually wind up having the base game version as well. And
eles não vão mostrar o passe de batalha completo,
because
né?
it's here once doesn't mean it's going to be the only version.
Se eles mostrar, dependendo do que vir, eu não compro.
You don't even have to,
Opa!
You don't have to get the battle pass.
Unlock the battle pass,
The
but-
armor mannequins. Yeah.
And we can skim through some other stuff while we're here if you want to.
Sure. I mean, yeah, we can go over maybe like the first 3 pages.
I
for folks.
I love showing off like all of the backgrounds and everything too because the work that goes into them is so amazing, and it'll give people something to speculate about what the story is that's happening. If you're fine with that.
I'm fine with that. Yeah. And in fact, maybe some eagle-eyed viewers might notice a reference to previous
Indeed.
illustrations we've had. So.
And you'll also see, giving that disclaimer again, there may be some stuff doesn't have final icons or in the battle pass as we go through it. Just know that as we go forward. So we again have a lot of like sorcery themed items. We always try to strike a balance
caixa de
of how
madeira.
much stuff is specific to the theme of the age.
Camelo
how
ali no
much
level
stuff is kind of
12.
a breather from people so you don't get fatigued from just having all sorcery stuff all the time. Also, there's
Que
a
isso aí?
shield.
Escudo.
That's based on that altar that
Escudo de
Necromancer
cristal de
has.
sangue,
You can see,
Pedra
the
de sangue.
fire above the skull.
Chat's going nuts for the camel.
I know.
Camel?
I know.
Camel?
Yeah.
Hello?
So there's the camel. The camel right now is
camelinho.
literally just a pack animal. You can't ride on this version.
It's not a
of it.
mount, yeah, but yeah.
But it is a follower. You can have follow you around with a good amount of inventory space. But we know everyone's going to want to be able to ride
Eita
it
pô,
eventually.
que é isso aqui?
Oh. Yeah, the
Pet
text here
novo,
is
hein?
different from what you actually get. What you're actually going to get is the creature that's shown here, not any kind of backflip or anything.
Yeah, there are some things that we
Bancada
have
do
to
volume.
replace, kind of last minute if we
Volume
can get things
craft.
working out. So
Yeah, I think
maybe
it's shuffled around.
maybe a spoiler for the future, but that's okay. It's no big deal.
As
there's
armas
an
aí,
instant
pelo
for
jeito,
the
são
golden
novas,
craft
cara.
bench. Slow clap emote. Oh yeah, we have those
Expressão.
previews for these now too, so it's cool to show the actual emotes.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't miss
Será que eles
any
vão
of the
mostrar
emotes,
todo
but
o passe? Eu acho que não.
There's Turanian armor. So.
Uma armadurinha.
Yeah, you notice a lot of the battle
Vou
pass
mostrar,
stuff also,
cara.
and some of the things that you'll see in the bazaar as well are.
Opa,
Turanian
olha essa
themed.
armadura.
We'll go into that a bit too, because I have some folks in chat have
Armadura de
pointed
chifre.
out the curved items.
Mm.
You can punch the camel.
Well, maybe we can make that in the future. There's the Necromancer set. You can see it has a lot of tiny pieces. It's very long.
Eu acho que camelo não é de montaria,
We also
cara.
are
Não
making
sei.
these chests to kind of let you
Eu acho, né?
easily dictate and decide what goes where. So this one is, for rocks and ore, and it's obvious from a distance.
Ali tem uns, parece que é um saco de dormir novo.
Or specialized lumber one as well, yeah.
Um arco novo. O que é isso ali, cara?
Golems are just golems. So everything we've talked about prior to like battle pass and bazaar stuff is
Que
all
isso,
just like
velho?
going to be part of the base game. You don't have to like buy anything
Parece
special
um-
or like download some DLC or
emote.
whatever other than just the update, just part of the update.
Nossa, um cachorro mecânico.
Someone asked if you'll see the rocks in it.
Robozinho.
I can't remember if we were able to go that far, but it is a thing that we requested to do. We'll have to see when we get closer to release if it gets put in or not. This emote sadly is not animated, or it doesn't have the preview yet, but this is really just standing there waving the fan at someone. There's a
É, ó, dog. Eles vão mostrar tudo mesmo, cara. Montaria
The
nova.
blood crystal weapons are really
Espada de
cool.
duas mãos nova.
Yeah, we have a couple of them equipped on the character as well.
Yeah, I'll show them in a
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
But they have that blood crystal from the golems in the ground worked into them. There's
Arma
Conan
nova.
sword there.
Ó, tem outra armadura nova, vamos ver.
Really fancy. Yeah, this is the item.
Ah, aquela ali que
that
eles
we're
estão
wearing on our
que eles estão
character right
usando.
now, yeah.
É, pelo menos essa armadura vai vir no
There's also gonna
no
be,
passe,
there'll
né?
be other like costume sets that are themed around Golemancy as well. No, so Bárbaro, there's multiple types of specialized containers. We saw the rocks and ore one. There's also one for lumber. I think there's a couple other ones. I'd have to check out.
Isso aí eu não entendi o
There's not
que
just
é.
one.
Oh, we didn't unlock the whole thing.
É,
I didn't
cara.
unlock the whole thing.
Bazar, sei lá, mano.
Mostly unlocked. The Warcry
Tem
mode, that one's
muita
really
coisa
awesome.
legal,
The
né?
character screams really loud whenever you do it.
The
O
bugs.
conteúdo em si que eles mostraram eu achei interessante, mas vai vir no bazar,
And
cara.
then here at the end we have
O que é isso aí?
another version of the stone golem. That's
Essa
one of the
armadura é um
unique
golem.
Cool. So there's a sneak peek at the battle pass itself.
Gole.
And here's
Golem.
also the
Gole.
sword. Just kinda,
Eles vão mostrar as armas agora.
you can see the material worked into it. This monitor is a bit washed out.
It is, but I think it should display okay on the stream.
Yeah, for sure. So they've got that cool vibrant red rock component to them.
Does it glow?
It does not glow.
Eu acho assim, já que vão. O jogo já tá virando pay to win, cara, eles têm que pelo menos colocar um bônus legal nessas armaduras aí que estão vindo
We kind of
no.
gave it this sort of almost like
no bazar
surface
e no passe,
reflection
né?
kind of look.
Vira pay to win logo de uma vez,
Make it
então,
look
já
like
que é
there's a
pra,
little bit of depth.
pra vender no bazar, pô. Que se.
Oops, something
Tem umas armaduras do bazar aí que eu comprei passado aqui e eu achei uma merda o bônus,
Missing
cara.
one of the gloves. And there's that set, that Necromancer set. With all of its tiny pieces.
A armadura é legal, cara, ó. A armadura
That's a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Como é que é?
I wasn't kidding.
I didn't realize.
crazy.
Yeah, those gauntlets are just like.
Dos cornos.
Can you die this?
Chifrudo.
Nice.
Yeah, it should have good die support as well. You know, the artist I mentioned before is very committed to making dice work well on these pieces.
Não, tem uns conteúdos legais que vai vir no bazar, mas assim,
What's that? Excellent.
tem muita coisa ali que nem poçãozinha, pelo amor de Deus, que eu pego com poção de magia,
Excuse me.
isso aí não precisava colocar no passe, né, pô? Coloca umas moedas a mais, então,
Just that
de
static pose.
concões, né?
Golems are free.
Yeah, well,
E aquela construção ali é nova, hein? Eu acho que vai vir no bazar, cara, é titulando nova.
Stands
Essas
also
construçõezinhas aí.
different poses can like kind of warp the armor in different ways, so it's kind of a challenge to get like the right kind of like pose that sometimes doesn't. We ran into some issues with like we had like one thing that was like had its arms crossed or something like that. That's causing a bunch of like weird geometry issues like with the shoulders and such. So
Bom,
Yeah, we picked one that was pretty
tem
neutral.
um golem que eu vi ali no bazar, ou bazar não, no passe.
We have a
Leva 60, você ganha um
prototype that has
golem,
a lot of different
mas
options
provavelmente
for
esses
the
golems que
stand,
eles estão
so
mostrando aí vai
we know
vir tudo
we
no
can get
bazar.
more complex with it and offer more
Você vai ter que
options.
investir dinheiro.
For the moment, though, this is what will
yeah.
come out whenever we ship. What next?
What next? I mean, that covers.
É isso
most
aí, no
of-
caso,
I think
esses
that covers
manequim é
all the
pra
major
colocar
steps
armadura,
that
acho que é
we
pra
wanted to talk
enfeite, né?
about. Let's see. We talked about the new journey system. We talked about the blood crystals and Mechaboz's new crib. We hinted a little bit of what he's up to. The all new golem system. New principles. New gradient building piece expansions, including curved pieces. Actually, let me show you. Yeah. Let me show off footage from.
Agora eles vão mostrar. Essa armadura vem no passe. Essa cela também. Cavalo tá inútil no jogo.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Principalmente no
That thing looks
PVP,
so
mas
good.
né?
The horse and the armor set is so awesome.
Essa armadurinha ali parece interessante, pô.
So yeah, this is just going to be like a just a short view of just like what's possible.
É, essa construção e editora é nova?
Under training. And then, I suppose.
Pode esperar que vai vir no bazar.
I guess like one of the last burning questions.
I don't know, Cameron, you tell me.
I actually don't know.
Looks like it's time to go to Slack.
Yep, bad. 1 second. I'm just gonna let this play.
I'm really bad about keeping up with timelines. Because I'm just trying to shove as much cool stuff in with the time that we have. I need to get better about it.
Nicole, are you messaging anyone? Okay, I'm just.
E eu achei que eles iam adicionar uma DG nova no mapa, né, cara?
Oh, okay. One of the. Sorry.
Womp womp.
I see. Yeah, this one ended up dying. That's why.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang it. Sorry.
I was just talking to someone who
Yeah. This might just die.
The battery.
A questão do eclipse eu achei a parada mais da hora disso aí, mano.
also like,
O eclipse
Yeah, that's
apareceu
what
aí,
we're-
cara.
no,
Coisa
we're
mais
just-
massa que eu vi,
that's what
mano.
we're working
Ah,
on
os golems são
figuring
bons,
out.
cara, são legais, mas. Véi, vai ter que pagar, então não tô muito feliz não, cara.
Right now. My beard is too powerful. Yeah, it's just like sucking all the energy, all the battery power. That's the
Prometer
source
que o
of my
conteúdo ia ser
powers that I
free.
suck out.
Que só skin e peça
I absorb,
de coins ia ser
all
pago. Vamos ver, né?
Yes. I just absorb all the electrical power from various things around me into myself through my beard, and that's why everything just kind of breaks around me. I always blame Mercury retrograde, but it's just me having a chaotic aura, so. We're waiting on an answer. Let's take a look.
Pô, esse jogo ele é muito bom, é muito foda, mas tem muito problema, cara.
I believe the new terranium pieces are going to be in the bazaar, I believe.
I think they're spread out. The battle pass has the armor set.
Oh, sorry, I was talking about the building pieces. I think there's like, I know that there's the scaffolding set and all that, that would be it's right there.
If you want to choose.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
É, ó. Bazar. Meu Deus do céu, olha isso, cara.
No, I think that there is a button to click everything off. But there's not, just a...
Discípulos of Zar. Um monte de armadura que vai ser vendido no bazar.
Felines. Oh, we showed up a couple.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's just like that's the test environment bazaar, so everything rotates like super duper fast.
This is another case where you might see stuff that's not.
Aí, ó. Skin de pets novos, armadurinha.
Different sorcery themed outfits.
Eles estão mostrando tudo, ó.
Yeah, different mounts, weapons, and amiibo. Even around two different qualitative elements.
That gets a bit cut off.
Oh yeah.
This one's really cool. It has kind of different like praying or ritual oriented units. I love that one.
Love that czar. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. And so we can at least say public beta for Chapter 3 is planned to go live this Thursday, the 23rd of February. For those who haven't been following along for years, we used to call it Test Live, and now we just call it the public beta because Test Live just never really made sense, and that was an old legacy name scheme that we've had for a decade.
There was some confusion because we used Test Live for also the name of a branch internally.
Oh, of course.
So
Chapter 3 will be Chapter 3 will be available for testing this Thursday, and the Chapter 3 official release date, is currently planned as March 14th. Mark your calendars, friends. Chapter 3 will be the final chapter. It will be the ultimate chapter of the Age of Sorcery, and then we will shift into a new age, a different age.
Yeah.
Period. Full stop.
That's it. Yeah.
Ali as magias novas, é? Pois é, cara. O que foi mostrado até agora, tipo assim, foi mostrado conteúdo legal. Foi. O Eclipse eu gostei. Essa questão dos golems eu curti bastante. É um conteúdo bem vasto, né? Só que, pelo que eu tô vendo aqui, muita coisa vai ser paga. Dia 14 de março. É, mês que vem, cara.
Thank you, friends. I think that
Tinha que ser mais barato, né, cara?
O que é dia 14 de março?
O lançamento
oh, but it's,
dessa atualização.
This is all like still in development, but it's fine. It's fine. No big deal.
É, bem coisa de PvE, né, cara?
So I think that covers it as far as like things we wanted to talk about for Chapter 3. We're running over just a little bit over an hour, so we do actually have to get going pretty soon. We may be able to take maybe a couple questions. We haven't answered them, but otherwise, we'll look forward to seeing you on the test server and hearing all your feedback.
You probably were saying, but there will be more stuff in the update than we went over today as well. We just hit the big points.
Yeah, this is just like a preview stream. Like everything else, you will be able to actually like play with your own hands this Thursday. So any of your burning questions, I mean, just wait till later this week and you'll be able to answer it yourself. No, we're not. No pooping. Sorry. Age of Spinosaurus. That's spoilers. That's the next age confirmed. Yes. Every mob is replaced with Nicole in a dinosaur onesie. Yes. Yeah. Character transfers are still disabled. Still working out issues with it. We don't have a ETA on that, unfortunately. But as soon as we know more, we'll let you know.
I mean, like,
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, since you don't. Yeah, my bad.
Someone actually just said climbing fixed when. I think it's this update that's going to have I don't want to say it's a fix. It's definitely an improvement to climbing. So when your character gets to the top, they don't just fall off back to the bottom.
Oh, that's good.
I think it's this update.
Okay.
If it's not this one, it's Age 2 chapter 1. But I think
We'll
it's
find out soon.
I think it's here. Update the engine, never gonna happen.
We've been over this. So, I think it's like every stream we've been
Yeah,
talking
it's just a meme at this point. But Exiles is not a simple Unreal Engine version. Like you can't just
O chinelão, velho, não para.
Change engine version. We have a lot of custom code in the engine code itself, which makes it impossible to just change the version.
Well, okay, I think that is a good point to stop for today. We look forward to hearing about all your questions or feedback about today's stream on social media or on the forums. And of course, again, Chapter 3 will be available on the public test server this Thursday, the 23rd. Big shout outs to our support staff for helping out with chat today. Big shout outs to Nicole
Vocês vão mostrar mais alguma
hanging out
coisa.
with us, as well as marketing and producer folks helping
Eu
answer
achei que ia ser
questions live on
masmorra,
Slack.
DG nova,
And thanks to you, of course,
sei lá.
for tuning in.
Mas acho que é isso aí mesmo.
I think that's about it for me. Thanks for helping, Nicole. Appreciate it. Thanks, y'all. I think that's about it. Yeah. We shall see you the next time, and look forward to seeing you in game. Bye.
Acabou.
I awkwardly change scenes. Wait. Anyway. Bye.
Acabou?
É, princípio acabou. É, isso aí. Cara,
Obrigado.
resumidamente. Ó, essa questão do eclipse eu achei legal. Que vai acontecer no mapa. E questão dos golems aí, vai ter coisa que vai vir no passe, vai. Mas as coisas mais legais que eles mostraram ali, tudo bazar, cara. Tudo vai ter que injetar dinheiro. Então assim, cara, é complicado ficar defendendo, mano. Não dá pra defender. O conteúdo em si é legal, mas cara, tem que pagar, mano. Mas essa questão do eclipse solar e eclipse de sangue, eu achei da hora. Eu esperava que viesse uma DG nova, né? Tinha muita especulação que ia vir DG nova. Mas enfim. Deixa eu ver os comentários aqui. Cara, foda. Galera, eu vou ficando por aqui. Mais tarde eu tô de volta. Aí nós conversa. Um abraço.